Hey guys. So, I'm diving into some famous slasher and haunting tales on this channel, but I also think it's super important to use my platform to share your personal stories. I want to show that these experiences are real and really do happen. These are subscriber-submitted stories from my inbox. All I ask is that you keep an open mind. These are your stories. Listen to the entire torture story, and it will surprise you. It begins with a slow, relentless rhythm, a pounding in my head that syncs with the throb of the city outside my penthouse window. I stare into the mirror, the city lights casting jagged shadows across my face. The reflection is familiar, yet there's something in the eyes, a glint of something darker, something primal. Tonight, the beast within me stirs. I step out onto the balcony, the cold air biting at my skin, heightening my senses. The city below is alive, throbbing with its own pulse, and I feel a hunger rise within me, a need to feel the thrill, the power that comes with the hunt. The board meetings, the suits, the luxury, they're all masks, disguises for the true predator that I am. The night is my canvas, and tonight, I will paint it red. I step out onto the balcony, the cold air biting at my skin, heightening my senses. The city below is alive, throbbing with its own pulse, and I feel a hunger rise within me, a need to feel the thrill, the power that comes with the hunt. The board meetings, the suits, the luxury, they're all masks, disguises for the true predator that I am. The night is my canvas, and tonight, I will paint it red. I move through the crowded streets, a wolf among sheep. They don't notice me, their eyes glued to their screens, their minds occupied with trivialities. But I notice them. I see their fear, their weaknesses, and it excites me. My target tonight is different, more challenging. She's a rising star in the tech world, a symbol of hope and innovation. But to me, she's just another prey, another piece to my dark puzzle. I follow her, blending into the shadows, my heart racing with anticipation. She leads me to her apartment. A sleek, modern fortress. But no fortress is impenetrable. I wait, biding my time, savoring the anticipation. The moment arrives. I slip into her apartment, the thrill of the intrusion sending a shiver down my spine. She's in the living room, her back to me, unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows. I move silently, my hand tightening around the handle of my knife. The first cut is always the sweetest, the sharp intake of breath, the look of shock and terror. But I don't rush. I savor every moment, every drop of blood, every scream. Her strength surprises me, but it's futile. The beast within me is unstoppable. The struggle only makes it sweeter, the thrill more intense. I lose myself in the violence, the blood, the power. The room is silent now, save for the dripping of blood. I stand over her lifeless body, a sense of euphoria washing over me. The hunt is over, but the satisfaction lingers. I take a moment to admire my work, the artistry of the kill. I leave no trace, nothing that can tie me to the scene. The city will wake to another gruesome headline, another unsolved mystery. And I will be there, watching, waiting for my next prey. Days turn into weeks, and the thrill begins to fade. The headlines become a blur, the faces of the victims a distant memory. But the hunger remains, gnawing at me, demanding to be fed. I try to suppress it, to find satisfaction in the mundane, but it's no use. The beast is insatiable, and I am its slave. I know that one day, it will consume me entirely, leaving nothing but darkness and blood in its wake. But until then, I will continue to hunt, to kill, to feed the beast within. Because in the end, it's not about the power or the thrill. It's about survival. And I am a predator in a world of prey. The days after the kill blur into a haze of monotony. The corporate meetings, the empty social gatherings, they all blend into a gray fog that stifles my senses. But within that fog, there's a spark, a whisper of the thrill that still lingers. The beast is not satisfied, it demands more. I find myself drawn to her apartment building, my steps carrying me there without conscious thought. The police have cordoned off the area, but I remain on the periphery, a phantom among the curious onlookers. They speak in hushed tones, their eyes wide with fear and morbid fascination. They don't know that the monster they fear stands among them. The sight of her apartment, now a crime scene, reignites the fire within me. I need to relive that night, to feel the power coursing through me once more. The hunger is insatiable, a gnawing void that demands to be filled. And I know exactly where to find my next prey. Her name is Emily. She's a journalist, investigating the recent string of murders. She thinks she's uncovering the truth, that she's getting closer to the killer. But she's just another fly caught in my web. I watch her from a distance, studying her routines, her habits. She frequents a small coffee shop, always sitting in the same corner, her laptop open, her eyes scanning the crowd. She feels safe in the public space, surrounded by people. But safety is an illusion, one I will shatter. I follow her home, my heart pounding with anticipation. Her apartment is modest, a stark contrast to her determination and drive. I wait, my patience as sharp as the blade I carry. The night deepens, the city falling into a slumber, and I make my move. The key to true horror lies in the anticipation, in the slow, deliberate build-up to the inevitable. I disable her security system, slipping into her apartment like a shadow. She sleeps soundly, unaware of the nightmare about to unfold. I stand over her, the knife in my hand, savoring the moment. Her eyes flutter open, confusion giving way to terror as she sees me. I clamp a hand over her mouth, silencing her scream. The struggle is brief, the chloroform takes effect quickly. She falls limp, and I carry her to the basement I've prepared. The room is dark, the only light coming from a single bulb hanging from the ceiling. Chains dangle from the walls, a testament to my meticulous planning. I secure her wrists and ankles, ensuring there's no escape. The anticipation is intoxicating, the promise of what's to come a sweet torment. She wakes to the sound of her own screams, the pain from the first cut rousing her from unconsciousness. I stand before her, the knife glinting in the dim light, her blood dripping from its edge. Her eyes are wide, filled with fear and confusion. Why? She whispers, her voice trembling. Because I can, I reply, my tone cold and detached. The truth is simple, and yet it eludes her. She doesn't understand the thrill, the power that comes from holding a life in my hands. The torture is methodical, each cut, each burn, carefully calculated to inflict maximum pain. Her screams echo off the walls, a symphony of agony that fuels the fire within me. I lose myself in the violence, the blood, the raw, unfiltered power. Days turn into nights, a cycle of pain and suffering. Her spirit breaks slowly, piece by piece, until there's nothing left but a hollow shell. But as her life ebbs away, a new hunger begins to grow within me, a need for recognition, for validation. I leave clues, subtle hints that point to me, to my identity. The thrill of the hunt is no longer enough. I need the world to know, to fear me. I want to see the terror in their eyes, to feel the power of their helplessness. But with each clue, I know I'm drawing closer to the end. The police will come, they will find me, and the final act will unfold. The beast within me is insatiable, and it will consume everything in its path. And when they finally catch me, when they see the monster behind the mask, they will understand. They will see the darkness, the void that drives me. And they will fear, knowing that true evil walks among them. Emily's disappearance becomes headline news, a stark contrast to the monotony of her predecessors. Her colleagues, driven by fear and a need for justice, dig deep into her notes, her last known movements. The police follow, trailing behind, piecing together the fragments of my puzzle, but I am always one step ahead. I watch from the shadows as they swarm her apartment, searching for clues. They don't know that I've already orchestrated their every move, that each discovery they make is a thread I've woven into my grand design. The thrill of the game intensifies, the stakes higher than ever. Detective Ramirez, a seasoned veteran, takes the lead. He's sharp, intuitive, but flawed by his belief in patterns and logic. He thinks he can outsmart me, but he doesn't understand the mind of a predator. I toy with him, leaving traces of my presence, feeding his obsession. Ramirez becomes my new fixation. His relentless pursuit, his desperate need to solve the case, fuels my excitement. I study him, learning his routines, his weaknesses. I begin to see him not just as an adversary, but as my next victim. I make my move on a cold, rainy night. I follow him from the precinct, my heart racing with anticipation. The darkness cloaks me, the rain masking my footsteps. He heads to a bar, seeking solace in a glass of whiskey, unaware of the danger lurking just outside. I wait until he leaves, his steps unsteady, his mind clouded. I trail him to his car, my hand tightening around the handle of my knife. He senses me too late, turning just as I strike. The blade sinks into his side, his gasp of pain a sweet symphony in the rain. "Who are you?" he chokes out, his eyes wide with shock and pain. "I'm your worst nightmare," I whisper, pulling the blade free. I leave him bleeding in the alley, a message written in his blood, "Catch me if you can." Ramirez survives, but the wound is deep, both physically and psychologically. He becomes consumed by the case, his obsession turning into a dangerous spiral. He sees me in every shadow, hears my voice in every whisper. The hunter becomes the hunted, his sanity unraveling with each passing day. The media frenzy intensifies, the city gripped by fear. They call me the Manhattan Reaper, a specter of death haunting the streets. I revel in the chaos, the power of my notoriety. But with each kill, the beast within me grows more restless, more insatiable. I escalate the violence, the brutality. My victims are no longer chosen for their symbolic value, but for the sheer thrill of the hunt. I leave behind a trail of bodies, each one more gruesome than the last. The city trembles, and I bask in their terror. Ramirez, despite his descent into madness, sets a trap for me. He uses himself as bait, knowing that I can't resist the challenge. He leaks information to the press, drawing me in with the promise of a worthy adversary. I accept the challenge, my ego blinding me to the danger. I follow his trail, my excitement mounting with each step. The final confrontation is near, and I am ready to face him, to see the fear in his eyes as I take his life. But Ramirez is clever. He anticipates my every move, leading me into an abandoned warehouse. I sense the trap too late, the doors slamming shut behind me. The lights flicker on, revealing Ramirez and a squad of armed officers, their guns trained on me. "You think you can catch me?" I sneer, my hand twitching towards my knife. "It's over," Ramirez says, his voice cold and steady. "You've lost." The standoff is tense, the air thick with anticipation. I weigh my options, my mind racing. Surrender is not an option, the beast within me demands blood, demands violence. I lunge, my knife slicing through the air. The gunshots are deafening, pain exploding through my body. I fall, the world spinning around me, but I smile. The darkness closes in, but I know I've won. Even in death, I've left my mark, a legacy of fear and blood that will haunt the city forever. The beast may be silenced, but its shadow will linger. They will remember me, the Manhattan Reaper, the predator who walked among them. And in their nightmares, they will feel the terror, the power that comes from facing true darkness.